Chapter 7. The trip was not very long, but Jane hardly spoke. Alicia was in the seat beside Miguel Angel. She almost forced herself on him, but Jane didn't care. Alicia put her earphones on and hums to her tunes. There was no conversation except between her mom and Miguel Angel's dad. Jane is just as happy. She doesn't want to talk to anyone. The place is lovely at sunset. The view of Ipacarai Lake was stunning. There are cabins, unpaved streets, and a beautiful forest where people can walk. It is paradise. Jane cannot appreciate it at all. "Would you like to go for a walk along the boardwalk?" Miguel Angel asked Jane. "It follows along the shore for quite a way." "Sure, I suppose," Jane replied. While everyone else was walking through the village, Jane and Miguel Angel walked on the boardwalk down by the lake. Many people went to this beach. It is called La Rotonda. It was late summer, and although it is getting dark, they took off their shoes and socks and dipped their feet in the water. They sat on the edge of the boardwalk and enjoyed the scenery. Jane felt a bit better. It is good to be able to sit and be quiet with someone, even if he already has a girlfriend. Jane sighed deeply. The city was founded in 1880 by German settlers. Juan Carlos said to Annie, "We should go and see some of the old houses near the plaza." "I would really enjoy that," Annie said. Miguel Angel, Juan Carlos, his father, called from the other side of the boardwalk. "Let's go sightseeing." However, Jane and Miguel Angel did not hear him. They were intent on the scenery and the quiet conversation while sitting on the boardwalk. "I'll get them," Alicia said. "They can't hear us from here." She was angry. She ran toward the dock with a plan already in mind. Alicia didn't like Jane. She wanted Miguel Angel for herself. "Hey guys," she said as she comes up to them. "Miguel, your father needs to talk to you. He is in the town square. Go and I will stay here with Jane." "Okay," Miguel Angel said, and he walked quickly toward the plaza. Alicia sat next to Jane. She turned around to make sure that Miguel Angel was gone. She put her arm around Jane's shoulder. The two of them had their legs dangling in the water. It is deep at that point and very cold. "This lake is so beautiful." "Don't you think so, Jane?" Alicia asked as she pulls Jane's neck to her a bit roughly, as if she wanted to strangle her just a little bit, which she does. "You know, Jane?" Alicia looks at Jane's face. "I love my country. Look at this lake, for example. Many people have drowned here, but I'm not afraid. It's very beautiful." "Very beautiful," Jane repeated as she shook off Alicia's arm from her shoulder and moved a bit further away. "Jane, look out!" Alicia shouted. "There's a wasp on your head." Alicia hit her hard on the head, and Jane fell into the water. Alicia smirked as Jane hit the cold water and began to flounder around. Jane knew how to swim, but falling into the ice-cold lake took her by surprise. "What did you do? Are you crazy or what?" Jane shouted at Alicia as she grabbed her cell phone from her back pocket and held it above the water. Alicia watched from the boardwalk and laughed. "Forgive me, Jane," she says. "I didn't mean to do that, but the wasp was going to sting you. I'll go for help." Alicia walked slowly toward the town square in the distance. She didn't try to help Jane herself. Jane was a good swimmer. She looked toward the shore half a mile away at the end of the boardwalk. It was the only place she knew where she could get out of the water. Maybe she would find a ladder somewhere along the way to get up on the boardwalk. She pressed her arrowhead tightly and swam. After a few minutes, she reached a small beach and got out of the water. It was dark, but she could see some lights through the trees. It was the lights of the town square and the cafe. She walked back towards where she fell into the water to retrieve her socks and shoes, and then walked on bare feet toward the lights. She saw her mom and Miguel Angel's dad, Juan Carlos, sitting and talking in the cafe, but she didn't see Miguel Angel or Alicia. Jane was now certain that Alicia had lied. But why? Did she really just try to drown her? "Mom!" she shouted as she walked carefully into the square, trying to avoid the stones on the sidewalk, soaked to the skin, water dripping everywhere. "What happened? Why are you all wet, sweetheart?" Annie asked her. "Are you all right?" At that moment, Miguel Angel arrived with Alicia right behind him. "I was looking for you, Jane," he said. "Alicia told me you were—" "In the cafe in the town square," Alicia interrupts. "I went looking for help because Jane had fallen into the water." "You never said—" Are you all right? Alicia asked, interrupting Miguel Angel. Everybody looked at Alicia, who was smiling innocently. Why go looking for Miguel Angel when they were all right there in the square, ready to help? Jane's eyes narrowed. She was wet but fine. It was just an accident, she says. I'm okay, and the water temperature is fabulous. She giggles. For some reason, she was happy. Well, let's get you out of those wet clothes, dear, said Annie, her mother. You can put your school clothes on again. They are in your backpack. There is a bathroom in the cafe, says Miguel Angel's dad. Alicia, why don't you show her the way? Jane picked up her bag and went with her mother to change her clothes. She glared at Alicia's back as they followed her through the restaurant to the back where the bathrooms were. Now Jane knows what Alicia was really like, but she was too smart to act like her. She just had to wait for the right time to get back at Alicia, or better yet, to forget all about her. After all, it is now obvious that Miguel Angel was interested in her and not in Alicia. Maybe she wasn't his girlfriend anymore. Jane was happy that Alicia felt threatened by her. That night in San Bernardino was wonderful. The party was fantastic. They were in the Alps bar near the town square. Many of her classmates had arrived. She met a lot of new people. There was music, delicious food, and lots of fun. Jane and Miguel Angel danced together all night. There was upbeat music and also slower, more romantic music. They danced and held each other close. Alicia was nowhere to be found. Whatever mischief she has planned seems to have backfired. Miguel Angel would not let Jane out of his sight. He was protecting her. Jane felt the arrowhead on her cheek as she rested her head on Miguel Angel's chest. She leaned back and took it in her fingers and turned it over. She read the back of the arrowhead. It says Arnie. She looked up at him with a question in her eyes. Why did Miguel Angel have an arrowhead like hers? And more importantly, why was her father's name written on it? Who else could it be? Did it belong to Miguel Angel? How did he get it? But Miguel Angel had no idea what Jane was thinking. Jane did not ask him anything. She just closed her eyes and felt the magic of the moment. Kids, we're leaving now, Jane's mother shouted from the table. The bus was waiting outside. Just like in the story of Cinderella, 12 o'clock midnight marked the end of the fairy tale. Chapter 8. Miguel, I do not feel very well today, Miguel Angel's mother said. I would like to cancel dinner with the Bertoni family tonight. But Mom, we can't cancel now, Miguel says. Maybe if you take something, does your stomach hurt, your head, or something else? Lying is sometimes a good option, but when the memories are deeper than lies, inevitably there are problems. Why don't you want to have dinner with the Bertoni family? Juan Carlos asked. This is important to Miguel. Lujan did not answer. Her eyes were lost in time. Everything became a memory. She remembered the last time she saw Arnold. It was 1989, and Matilde Alfredo Stroessner was the president. His dictatorship lasted for 35 years. It was the morning of February 3rd, and her memories were still vivid after all those years. Arnie, my parents may be in danger too, Lujan said. Her forehead wrinkled. Stroessner thinks this is just a game, but the opposition wants to overthrow him and anybody connected to him. Arnold and Lujan had just arrived at her home, walking the back streets and staying in the shadows. It was eerily quiet on the streets, and everyone seemed to be staying indoors. Lujan looked up at him, her eyes pleading. My parents will go to Bella Vista Norte and stay with a friend until this is over one way or the other. I need to go with them. You can come too. Maybe it's for the best, Arnold says. I agree with this revolution, but I'm worried about you. He paused to think. I will go with you. I don't care about anything else. My mom can take care of herself. Arnold and Lujan held hands and looked into each other's eyes. It felt like things were ending, but as long as they were together, it would be fine. Lujan, why are you still talking? We must go, her mother said from the door of her house. Arnie, please, my apologies, but these are difficult times. Mom, Arnie is coming with us, Lujan says. His mother is in town, and it isn't a good idea to go to the center of Asuncion right now. Arnie will call her from Bella Vista. Mi amor, his mother is... Yes, I know she is part of the opposition, but I love Arnie, Lujan said, raising her voice. It's not his fault what his mom does. What? She could see that Arnold didn't like that comment. You know what I mean, Lujan said, turning to face him again and taking both of his hands in hers. I love you. That's all that matters. I love you too, and I want to be together always, Arnold said. But now I can't help worrying about my mom. You can call her when we get to a safe place, Lujan's mother said. We need to leave right now. Bella Vista Norte is a town a few hours from Asuncion and is the ideal place to hide. Lujan's family had good friends there. It is where the country's elite lives when they were not in the capital. You'll love Bella Vista Norte, Lujan said as they got into the car. It has the same name as the town of Bella Vista, on the Brazilian side. They're separated by the Apa River. It's like being in the jungle of Mato Grosso. Lujan was worried about Arnold. He was taking a risk coming with them. His mother will certainly be angry that he goes with Lujan's family without telling her. They weren't exactly friends. But the riots in downtown Asuncion erupted quickly, and there was no time to make plans. Lujan tells him about Ojo de Mar, the lake where it was dangerous to swim because no one knew the depths of the lake. Many mysterious deaths seemed to happen on that lake. It is located in the Rinconada colony of Pedro Juan Caballero. That area is called the Terrace of the Country because it is more than 600 meters, about 1,800 feet, above sea level. It is about 50 kilometers, 31 miles, from the city of Bella Vista. Arnold and Lujan finally fell asleep in the back seat after they talked and dreamed of visiting the lake. The 436 kilometers, 270 miles, to Pedro Caballero went by very quickly because Arnold and Lujan slept almost the entire trip. When they got to the city, they got out of the car for a break and decided to order mate cocido in a nearby cafe. Listen, Lujan, Arnold said, people speak Portuguese here. Spanish, Guarani, Pidgin Yopara, and Portuguese, as well as Spanish-Portuguese Pidgin, called Portuñol, Lujan explained. Actually, 3 or 4 different languages are spoken. The International Avenue, Avenida Francia, which we are on now, separates Paraguay from Brazil. It is a great tourist and commercial center. However, they did not stay in the city. They continued to the Cerro Cora National Park until they got to the Route 5 detour. They drove 77 kilometers, 47 miles, along an unpaved rocky road until they reached their destination. It is a wonderful, unique place in the middle of the jungle. In this park, Arnie, the Triple Alliance Paraguayan War took place, and one of the final battles was fought here, Lujan's dad said. There were other sad events that took place here too, like the Acosta New battle, where more than 3,500 children died fighting against the Brazilian army in 1869. He paused. War is dirty business. Is that why you're a supporter of Stroessner? Arnold asked quietly. Lujan hits his arm to tell him to be quiet. President Stroessner, Lujan's dad said, but then he sighed. Say what you want, but our country has been at peace for the last 35 years, and that counts for something. As soon as they got to the house, Lujan and Arnold slipped out of the car as fast as they could. The house was the perfect hiding place, but they only went inside for a moment to eat something that Lujan's mother had already prepared in Asuncion. Then they went outside to explore the place. Lujan, please stay close to the house, Lujan's dad said. Dad, I've been coming here since I was a child. I won't get lost. That's not what I meant. Lujan took a machete and grabbed Arnold by his arm to tell him to follow her. She started running toward the tree line. Arnold hesitated for a second and then followed her quickly. Lujan was cutting branches and leaves, opening the way into the jungle. After an hour, they got to a deep ravine. Below was a cavern, a cenote, where only the echoes of toads croaking were heard. It is invisible from above. These caves are born from a collapse of limestone because of the rush of water during the constant thunderstorms in this area of the country. They are like windows that have underground tunnels, probably connected to one another. Look down there, Arnie, Lujan says. This place is unbelievable. There are underground caverns with a lot of frogs. That is why this cenote is called Kururu Kua, which means toad cave. Lujan moved closer to the edge to look straight down. And very few people know that these places exist. Arnie was really impressed. It was the perfect hiding place. He looks at Lujan with new eyes. Lujan was an incredible girl, and he was in love. He kissed her intensely. The first love is unique. Lujan does not resist. They spend the afternoon in the cave with the toads croaking at them from the safety of the pond. They shared their love like it was their last day on Earth. But the shadows started to invade their thoughts, and they realized that they had to return. It was late, and they were in the middle of the jungle. Do you hear that? Arnie stands up. It sounds like a helicopter. Maybe they found your parents' hiding place. We need to go back. The plan to overthrow Stroessner had the name Operation 33 because it is scheduled for 3 a.m. on the 3rd of February, 1989. The end of that government was close, very close. When they reached the house, Arnold's mother, China, was already getting out of the helicopter. The sound of the helicopter was too loud to talk, but Arnold understood why she was there. His mother had gotten help from the Colorado Party, the opposition. They offered the helicopter to pick up Arnold to make sure he was safe. Colonel Oviedo was in charge. Apparently his mother was more important than he knew. Arnold knew that China has a lot in common with the opposition party. They share the Guarani language and their desire for social assistance for the neediest classes. In fact, Colonel Oviedo was the right-hand man of General Andrés Rodríguez, the most probable future president of Paraguay after the revolution and leader of the coup. The problem was that he hated Lujan's parents and wanted to put them to death as supporters of the dictatorship. Do not be frightened, China says to Lujan's parents once the door was closed. You are protected. No one knows that you are here. Lujan's father looks at Colonel Oviedo standing with his back to the door, his semi-automatic rifle in his arms. He did not seem happy. Thank you, Lujan's father says. But why? You should thank my son, China says. If it wasn't for him, you would be arrested. She paused to look at Arnold intensely. Still, there is a price that must be paid for this kindness. Arnold knew what he had to do. He turned to Lujan. We must leave the country. There is no other way. It isn't safe. Even if we win, many people will be resentful and will target my mother for her role in the revolution. He looked at her with desperation. You must leave as well. Go through the jungle and get to Argentina or Brazil. Come back in a few years when things are safe again. I will find you. Lujan could not say anything. She just looked at Arnold, her eyes brimming with tears. It was the price of protecting her family. They hugged each other for a long time. We have to go, Arnie, China says softly. Arnold went with his mother and Lujan pressed the arrowhead very hard between her fingers. She also presses her rosary to her heart. Their love is true. It will last forever. Are you daydreaming? Miguel asks his mother, a bit concerned. Are you all right? He put his hand on his mother's shoulder. He never came back, she says out loud to no one in particular. Who never came back? Miguel Angel asks, his eyes full of curiosity. Lujan looked at her son, and her eyes fell on the arrowhead around his neck, and she smiled sadly. You're right, Lujan says with red eyes. We can't cancel the invitation now. Besides, who knows? Maybe your first love is forever. I don't know what you're talking about, Miguel Angel says, a bit embarrassed. Please just say yes or no. Chapter 9. In Jane's house, preparations were underway. Jane's Twitter explodes with messages like hashtag I am nervous or hashtag what do I wear. Girls anywhere in the world share the same concerns, and one of them is clothing. Jane can't wait. She needed to talk to her friend Blanche again before going to Miguel Angel's house. Jane connected to the internet and called Blanche via a video call using WhatsApp. Blanche, said Jane, I'm super nervous. I want to see him, of course, but I'm afraid at the same time. Why? Blanche asks. Just because he's older than you? No, not at all. My parents want me to have friends here. That's what's most important to them. But do you remember what I told you about the arrowhead? Yeah, it has your dad's name on the back of it. That is weird. I have a feeling my dad has something to do with it, Jane says thoughtfully. You don't think... No, it couldn't be. What? What are you talking about? No, that would be the worst thing ever. Jane was getting really upset. If you don't tell me what you're talking about, I'm going to come over there and personally knock your head off your shoulders, Blanche threatens. Well, it's just that Dad never talks about his missing arrowhead, and now it looks like Miguel Angel has it. So could he be... Related or something? You mean like another brother? Blanche asks. How old was your dad when he left Paraguay? 18, Jane says. He never talks about it. Is that what you're afraid of? I think you're way off base. Back then, people didn't fool around like they do today. I seriously doubt it. Then why does he have Dad's arrowhead necklace? Jane asks. She feels a bit better, but she still has doubts. Should she tell Blanche about the diary? Maybe later. She was running out of time. I have no idea, and you don't either, Blanche says. Don't invent problems where they don't exist. I don't know. Concentrate on tonight for now and just think about what you're going to wear, okay? Blanche says. Those words were almost magical. I think I'm going to the mall, Jane says. I need something that isn't too silly or too sexy. You know, my parents will be there too. Tomorrow I'll tell you how it went. Okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow morning, Blanche says. Jane said goodbye to her friend and then ran down the stairs to look for her mom. Mom, can I go to the mall and buy something to wear for tonight? Annie thought that spending money on clothes for a party is far better than seeing Jane alone and friendless in a strange country. So she agrees. I'll go with you, Annie said. Jeremy was listening and opened his mouth to ask if he could go too, but Jane quickly interrupted him. It's a girl thing, Jane says. You're not invited. Be nice, Jane, Annie said. Then she turned to Jeremy. Listen, you can go later with Dad, okay? But I don't want to be stuck alone in this old house, Jeremy said. Scaredy cat, Jane teases. Dad will be home soon and then you can come find us in the mall, Annie said. It's not far. We're going to walk over. Jeremy decided to go up to his room. Actually, he wanted to go into his sister's room, and this was his chance. The mall wasn't so far away. They live in Manara, an upper-class district of Asuncion. His mother and sister could walk to the Manara Mall since it is only a few blocks away. They wouldn't even bother to take the car. He went across the hall and into his sister's bedroom. She will kill him if she finds out that he went into her room without her permission, but he wanted to look at that diary. Maybe it has a clue about the key. He wanted to find the secret door that the key opens. Jeremy looked out the window to make sure that his mother and sister actually left the house. He noticed a car parked down the street with two men watching. They didn't get out. They just sat in the car, waiting. Waiting for what? He could see his mother and sister walking by the car. After a moment, one of the men got out of the passenger side door and started to follow them down the street. No, it wasn't a man. It's a woman. But she had a hood over her head and was wearing a poncho and dark glasses to hide her face. Why was she following them? That was a mystery that Jeremy was determined to solve. He ran downstairs into the garage and jumped on his bike. And of course, he took his camera. Every now and then, the woman turned around as if she knew that someone was following her, but Jeremy hid behind a bush and then a parked car and even a dumpster. She isn't an old lady, Jeremy thought, but she was small. The woman took many pictures of his sister and mother. Jeremy did not understand anything, but it was an adventure. Paraguay is turning out to be quite the place. He grinned to himself. She stopped and hid behind a parked car in front of the cathedral. Two men were crossing the street toward her. When some other people walked past her, she stood up and went quickly into the church with the others. Where are you going? Jeremy muttered to himself. The two men do not seem to notice the woman but walked into the church too. Jeremy followed them. He was a little bit frightened, but there were not many people inside, and they were all at the front of the church with the priest, except for the two men who were sitting on the side of the church near the back. He didn't see the lady anywhere. Not wanting the adventure to end, Jeremy creeped closer to the two men and then hid inside the confessional. From there, he could see and hear the two men talking. Then he heard the name Bertoni quite clearly. That is my name. Why are they talking about my family? Jeremy switches on the video function of his camera and starts to record the conversation. I think it's too big a risk, says one of the men in a husky, rough voice. We need another plan. This is a personal issue that I want to take care of myself, says the other man quietly. Are you sure it's the Bertoni family you remember? Insisted the other man. If you aren't sure, it isn't worth the risk. Yes, I'm sure. Alicia confirmed that the mother and daughter were in San Bernardino for a party. I also have confirmation that the Bertoni boy is at the school. The only one I haven't seen yet is him. You can't afford to let this get personal. What if they find out? Jeremy shivered. These men are talking about him and his family. What was happening? Suddenly, the confessional door opens. Jeremy ran past the priest, knocking him down. So sorry, he kept on saying. The two men saw him running out of the church. It's the Bertoni boy, one of the men yelled, and they started to chase after him. Jeremy realized that his bicycle was gone, but saw another blue one in front of the church, took it, and flew down the street. The two men ran to their car, parked across the street from the church, and followed the bike. "Oh God, oh God, oh God," Jeremy chants to himself. "I know I always asked you for a real adventure, but this is too real. I prefer adventure movies, like in the cinema, or HD on Netflix." Jeremy couldn't stop talking. He was very frightened. He did not know where he was going, but he knew that he had to hide. He climbed onto the sidewalk, dodged people with his bike, and then saw an alleyway to his right and raced down it. The car was right behind him in a narrow space, but Jeremy could see in the distance that the alley opened again into the center of town. He could see the plaza ahead and the people walking by the alley entranceway. The only problem was that there was a large steel container right in the middle of the alley, and there was no way around it. The car was right behind him and looked like it was trying to run him down. Jeremy raced up the board used by the workers to dump their wheelbarrow loads into the container and sailed through the air to land on the sidewalk, and then crashed with his bike into a parked car. The car's siren immediately went off, but he also heard another crash behind him. He looked and saw the two men unconscious, the windshield broken, and steam coming out of the crushed front end of the car. He approached the car slowly, as the siren of a police car was heard in the distance, and people started to gather to find out what happened and to see if the two men were all right. Jeremy took a photo, and then another. He was limping, and there was blood on his pants. In a few minutes, the police were there, and a TV channel crew was already filming. There were many people watching. A curious cameraman turned his camera towards him, but Jeremy turned around and walked quickly away. He ignored the blue bike, hoping that no one connected him to it or the two men in the car. He squeezed his arrowhead with all his might as he walked back home. He had to find his dad. Chapter 10. Jeremy was frustrated. "These are the times when I need a cell phone," he said aloud, "but apparently I'm still too young." Then he smiled. "If I play my cards right." He went up to his room and connected his camera to his computer, downloaded the photos, and sent them to his sister's cell phone with a short message attached. Then he went to look for his dad. Jane received the message but didn't open the attachment with the photos. Annie and Jane were sitting on a bench in front of an ice cream shop in the mall. They were enjoying a short break with their favorite flavors of ice cream. Rocky Road is the best. "Who was that, dear?" Annie asks. "Jeremy's driving me crazy with his pictures," Jane complained. "I don't know what he wants now." "He's only 12. You need to be more patient with him." "Did you see the pictures he uploaded of me back in Chicago?" Jane started to raise her voice. "It's embarrassing. I need to be extra careful all the time." It's not that bad." "Yes, it is, Mom," Jane said. "Look at this. He writes stupid, crazy things like this all the time." "What does it say?" Annie asked, trying to look at the message on Jane's phone. "It says, 'You're in danger. Someone is following you. Look at the pictures. Come home.'" "Did you look at the pictures?" Annie asks. "Of course not. They'll just be some stupid pictures of me that he took when I wasn't looking." "Give me your phone. I want to take a look." Fine." Both were quiet for a long moment. "Are these real?" Annie asks. "I don't understand." "Let me see," Jane said. She took the phone back and scrolled through the pictures. "He has a lot of pictures of the same woman." "Yes, and look at these last two," Annie said. "It looks like a car crash." "But what is he trying to say?" Jane asks. "That this woman is following us and that he witnessed a car crash? I don't get it." Annie took the phone back from Jane and read the message again. Jane looks up for a moment and noticed the same woman from the pictures standing in front of a store window not too far away. A chill ran down her back. "Jane?" Annie started to say. "Shh, Mom. Let's get out of here." Jane said, taking her mom by the arm and hurried off to another corner of the mall. Jane whispered to her mom about the lady, and Annie tried to look back. Jane ducked around a corner and pulled her mother with her. "I'm calling Miguel Angel," Jane said. "He lives right around the corner." She talked to him for a moment and then hung up. "He will be here in a few minutes." "I guess it's better to be safe than sorry," Annie said. "But if it turns out to be nothing, I'm going to be very embarrassed." She tried to smile, but she was too worried about Jeremy. "Hello, is anyone home?" Arnold calls out. He tossed his keys on the table, picked up the remote, and turned on the TV. "A strange accident happened today in Menorah," the news anchor is announcing. "A car with 2 injured people crashed into a steel waste container in an alley near the Central Plaza. 2 survivors were transported to the hospital." He pauses and then continues. "The rear windshield of the car had the inscription, Fundación Simón Bertoni." "Dad!" Jeremy yelled as he raced down the stairs. "Shh, Jeremy. I'm trying to listen to the news." "But Dad," Jeremy insisted, "this is important." "This is important too," Arnold said, irritated. "It has something to do with the Bertoni Foundation." Then the camera focused on a boy, his hair a little wavy, blonde, wearing jeans and a t-shirt. "Just like—" "Jeremy," Arnold said slowly and sternly. "What did you do?" "I was the hero, Dad. Really. I followed this lady who was following Mom, and then I listened to these 2 guys talking about our family, and then I stole a bike. Someone stole my bike too. And then I almost got run over, but then there was this crash, and I—" "Okay, stop right there." Arnold noticed the bloodstain on Jeremy's jeans. "Are you all right?" "It's just a scratch, Dad. I'm fine." "Still, I want to look at it," Arnold said. "Sit down and let me look at your leg." "We don't have time, Dad." "What are you talking about?" Jeremy took out his camera and showed the pictures to his dad, and he told the story again, slower this time and with more detail. Then they both listened to the conversation between the 2 men in the church. "That voice, I recognize it from somewhere," Arnold said. Then he remembers everything and shudders. "It can't be—" Arnold grabbed Jeremy's arm. "I want to see those pictures again. Enlarge the photo of the woman." Then he saw the gold rosary around her neck perfectly. He sighed deeply. "Who is this woman, Papa?" Jeremy asked. "Where are Mom and Jane right now?" "At the mall. Let's go. I'll explain everything on the way," Arnold said, and they left the house running. Chapter 11. The shopping center was nearby and was also quite small, so looking for Jane and Annie was not that difficult. Besides, Arnold had his cell phone, and he could call them if he needed to. "Dad, who is that woman? The one in the photo?" Jeremy asked again when they were inside the mall. The drive over was short and intense, and they didn't have a chance to talk. "It's a long story, but the main point is that this woman is someone I knew when I was 18 years old, says Arnold. "And on top of that, she is the mother of—" His phone rang and he answered it immediately. "Hello, Annie. Where are you?" "Jeremy and I are already at the mall." "We are in front of the sportswear shop," Annie said. "Something weird is going on. And—" "Don't move," Arnold said. "We're on our way." "Dad, are you going to tell me who this woman is or not?" Jeremy asked again. "Let's start walking," Arnold said, taking Jeremy's arm. "Does the name Stroessner mean anything to you?" "No. Who is he?" "He was a dictator back when I first came to Paraguay," Arnold said. He thought for a moment. "Forget about him for now. Do you know the name Montoya?" "Of course, that's Miguel Angel's last name." Jeremy stopped in his tracks, forcing his father to turn around and face him. "She's his mother? The one you knew when you were a kid? Why is she following us? And who are the 2 guys who tried to kill me today? Are they old friends of yours too?" "Don't be ridiculous," Arnold replied. "They weren't friends. They were enemies. And what do you mean they tried to kill you? You didn't say anything about that before." "You have enemies?" Jeremy said softly, his eyes wide. Then Jane came running up to them, pulling her mother along with one arm, while she protested the rough treatment. "Dad, something strange is going on," Jane says. "I called Miguel Angel. He'll be here any minute." "Where is she?" Arnold said. They all knew who he was talking about. Jane pointed at the woman in front of the sportswear shop with the hoodie and sunglasses, still wearing them inside the mall. She saw Jane pointing at her, turned and started to walk fast towards the mall exit. "Wait here. It's all right. I think I know who she is. I'm going to talk to her." Arnold walked quickly after her, trying not to attract too much attention. The woman walked rapidly, and so Arnold walked even faster. She dodged between other shoppers, and Arnold almost lost sight of her. Arnold couldn't catch up with her, even though he was practically running after her. His memories flashed back to their time in the forest, running after her, laughing, happy. "Lujan, please don't run anymore." She stopped and then turned around. Arnold was only a few meters in front of her. They stared at each other intensely. She took off her glasses and pulled back her hoodie. Arnold took a few steps toward her. "You didn't come back," Lujan says in a soft voice. "I thought you were dead." Neither one of them said anything else for a long moment. "How did you recognize me after all this time?" Lujan said quietly. Arnold came closer. For a moment he wanted to kiss her, but no, that wasn't a good idea. Arnold pointed at the gold rosary that hung around Lujan's neck. "I would recognize it anywhere." "You haven't changed a bit," Lujan said. Arnold chuckled, but then his face got serious. "What I don't understand is why I am following your family," Lujan interrupted calmly. "Yes, exactly," Arnold said with a puzzled look on his face. "I don't know. I'm sorry." She was obviously embarrassed. I just couldn't see you at the dinner tonight without knowing about your family." She paused, then picked up her courage and looked Arnold straight in the eye. "Okay, I wanted to know who you married and whether you were happy." Now there was a tear in her eyes. "For many years I lived and dreamt about seeing you again, and I couldn't understand why you didn't come back like you promised. And I had a son, and then I fell in love with a wonderful man, and we have an incredible family. But when I heard your name and realized it was you, the past returned to me, and I felt," she says, trailing off. "So much curiosity," Arnold said, finishing her sentence. "That's it," Lujan said, relieved. "I was curious. I wanted to know if your wife was tall or short, or beautiful, or better than you, maybe," said Arnold with a certain sadness. "Look, Lujan, all these years we were happy. We fell in love with other people. We had kids. Totally. Very happy. And we grew up. We are adults now," said Lujan, a little emotional. "But it's obvious that we needed to see each other again, just to end this beautiful story. Or continue it, but maybe as friends, write the chapters that need to be completed," Arnold said. With these last words, he made Lujan smile. And at that exact moment, Annie and Jane arrived with Jeremy, and Miguel Angel entered the shopping center. "Mom!" Miguel Angel shouted from the entrance and ran towards Lujan. "She's your mom?" Jane said loudly, confused. "What's going on here?" "Jane," Miguel Angel said. "Why was your mom following us?" Jane said angrily. "Arnold," Annie said. "Who is this woman? Do you know her?" "She's my mother," Miguel Angel said, getting irritated. "What's wrong with everybody?" "Wait a minute," Arnold commanded. "Calm down. Give me a second to explain." It was the first time Arnold was so close to Miguel Angel, and he could now see the arrowhead that was hanging from his neck. There was no doubt. Without asking, he took the arrowhead in his hands and turned it over to look at the other side of it. His name was written there. His eyes began to fill with tears. Miguel Angel looked at him puzzled. He took a step back and then grabbed his mother's arm. Annie and Jane didn't understand anything. "But what is happening?" said Annie. Jane just glared at Lujan. "Okay, let's see each other later," said Arnold to Lujan. "I need to have a talk with my family." "Yes, me too." Lujan lifted the arrowhead necklace from Miguel Angel's neck and tried to give it back to Arnold, but he refused to accept it. "It's not necessary. We've made a promise to have dinner tonight," said Arnold. "Let's figure it all out then." Although Lujan was a bit confused and filled with emotion, she nodded her head in agreement. Then she turned away and headed toward the mall exit with Miguel Angel on her arm, talking excitedly. Arnold hugged Annie very strongly, and then Jane. "Are you both all right?" he asked. They nodded. "Well, that was an adventure. I have lots to tell you, but let's do it at home." Jane was about to ask a question, but Arnold interrupted her. "No questions until we get home.